How concerned should the Cowboys be with Zeke off the field?
Well, I think there's been a number of things. I'll go back to Ohio State and what the people there think about Zeke in his 3 years there. Not a tremendous amount of concern as far as his character. Zeke is the type of person, he's a type A personality, he's an outgoing guy. I believe he enjoys having a good time. I believe that anytime you're a professional athlete and you're in the spotlight, like Zeke, let alone being in Dallas, like I would be careful. Like I wouldn't be just wandering off into any types of things. And he's gotten into a couple things that would probably raise your attention. I just think that we should watch it. We should watch the cookies as they in the oven, all right? Don't let them burn, but the cookie's not ready.
I got you.
Now, sometimes these young players, they think they know more than they understand. And that star and playing for the Cowboys, man, is a magnifying glass for everything in your life. So I think it's harder. It's going to be harder for people like Zeke with their personality going forward. But I don't have any personal concerns. I haven't had anybody tell me anything. I'm talking about all the Ohio State people, people in the National Football League. But I also would just say, beware, be conscious. Because trying to be a superstar and with the Cowboys in the National Football League, it's a tricky proposition. But I would say right now, I'm not concerned, but I'm watching the cookies, Joy, because I don't want them to burn because I know it's a good batch.
Well said.
Yesterday's incident, that was an accident, and I think, we've all been in minor fender benders, but I think he does bear in keeping an eye on. His dad said, my biggest worry, I don't believe my son knows how to navigate in life being a superstar.
Yep.
Zeke wants to be normal, but he's not normal anymore. And Skip, and I wasn't, this was before social media, and I wanted to be as normal as possible. But I realized there were certain things that I couldn't do now because I was no longer the Shannon from Glenville, Georgia. I was the Shannon of the Denver Broncos, the Shannon of the Baltimore Ravens. So I had to be mindful of who I hung with, where I went, what I said. And now I definitely tell all the guys, you automatically assume the moment you leave your house, you're being recorded or taped. It's either on, they can hear audio or they can see it visually. Automatically assume that. So if you do that, and I know you can't live in a bubble, but you have to. You don't have to be in a bubble, but you have to be mindful that everybody that you come in contact with is not your best friend. They don't have your best interest in mind. Zeke needs to understand he is one of the two biggest stars in Dallas. He and Dak Prescott. Now, they love Tony, but you don't on what you used to do. He's on the bench.
I agree.
Now, if he were to come back in and start, he would usurp Dak again. But Zeke is going to be there. It's like with TD. Right. It was basically John in a TD town. John was still playing. John was the starter. Once John left, it was all TD. So he knows what he is and how he's being perceived. And if his dad says this, because his dad says he still wants to be Zeke, the fun-loving, care-going kid, but you're a superstar running back on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, that superstar, that fun-loving, outgoing, golly gee kid, he can't be anymore. You can't be this naive. And if I'm reading it correctly, he believes his son is naive. He believes that, his son thinks everybody has his best interest and want to hang with him because they're homeboys and not something to gain out of it. And think about it. His dad moved from St. Louis up to Columbus.
Yes.
He
was there all 3 years, yes.
That's not normal.
No.
Now, Mary Porter didn't have money to move, but I think Mary Porter could rest very comfortably. My grandmother, that she had did everything she possibly could for 18 years. I was sending him on his way. I know my baby's gonna be okay. But for when your parents move up there to keep an eye on you, CC?
Yeah, and as far as the move there, the dad was a former athlete. Now, he's got two very supportive parents in his life. Got a great balance. I know the dad, talk to the dad, know the mom, talk to the mom. So he has a great support system. The dad knew he was going to be a star. He made a big move leaving Missouri because his parents, that's where his dad played at Missouri, and coming to Ohio State. Now, we thought he was going to be real good at Ohio State, but he broke his wrist early. So we thought he was going to play at Ohio State early. So that was part of the dad. The dad has done a great job of trying to be a go-between and a buffer to make sure that he reaches his potential. So that was the reason why he left his home and moved to Columbus and lived there for 3 years.